Thanks everyone for coming. Good morning. Thank you for coming. This is our August edition of Coaches and Coffee. For those of you it's your first time, it's a monthly event hosted by United Soccer Coaches. So thanks for coming. And the goal of Coaches and Coffee is to help coaches learn from each other and to get coaches networking and meeting each other. So I think we can probably all agree that Kansas City has a really strong soccer community. So our goal is to make that resource available around the city, around the Midwest. And today we're actually doing an experiment where we're streaming Facebook, so around the country hopefully. So the goal is to kind of help coaches and players interact and learn from each other. So after this event, if you learn something, I would encourage you to share it with your peers. Like I said, we have these every month. The topic varies. We're always interested in your feedback on like what you'd like to hear about, or if you feel strongly about a certain part of the game and you'd like to present, let us know. So keep that in mind afterwards. If you enjoyed it, share it. And there's monthly announcements we make about what the talk's going to be. So when you see this come in the future, make sure you send those on to other folks if you got something out of it. So this month our topic is the transition from kind of high school to club soccer. I want to say thanks to United Soccer Coaches for hosting, for Jordan for bringing the coffee. Definitely big thanks to UMKC for hosting. This is a really fantastic facility. This is one of the best locations we've had it at, so appreciate that. And so I'll start off with a quick intro, and then so the way this works usually, we do a panel where we kind of have a topic, and then folks ask questions, and then we have the experts kind of share their experiences. So we'll start off with Sarah. We're really happy to have Sarah because she has a really good perspective on the topic because she was a high school player, and then she played college, and now she's a high school coach. So that combination of expertise, we're really excited to have you here, and we had a pre-planning call before this, and Sarah was actually on vacation, so we've interrupted her vacation, and today's the first day of like school meetings and everything, so we really appreciate you being here and making time on your schedule to share. Thanks for coming. And then Chris Cissell is the coach for the UMKC Women's Program. And he's actually going to introduce, and he has some players as well, he's going to introduce them, but Chris has also made a lot of accommodations. This is their third day of preseason, second day of training, so they fit us into their schedule, so we really appreciate that. I think Chris is an example of how the soccer community in Kansas City is so amazing, wants to share and accommodate, and so we really appreciate you taking the time. Chris won, was it WAC Coach of the Year last year, so congratulations. I'm going to let Chris introduce the players, and then we're going to start off with an open question, and then as we go, anytime you have a question or want to interject, just raise your hand and jump in, and make sure to speak up when you ask, because we want the other folks who are watching online to hear. So I'll let Chris introduce the girls.
All right. First off, thank you very much. Thanks for coming to UMKC, and we hope that you enjoy this. And we really want to invite everybody to come and watch us train afterwards. I think that would be fun, and I think hopefully you would learn a lot and get a chance to watch the girls play. This is a really good, interesting topic that I wanted to be a part of, and we've had numerous discussions like this in the past, so I think this will be good. One of the things I'm really excited about is our panel. Not only with Sarah, my friend here, coaching high school, and she played at the highest level of Division I college soccer herself, but we have 4 current Division I soccer players here, 4 current UMKC players. I specifically selected these 4 because of who they are, their personality. They're local players, as all the high school coaches in the area know. We really try hard. Jeff and I really tried hard to recruit locally and keep some of the best local talent in Kansas City here at home and here at UMKC, and give them the chance to play Division I soccer right here at home and not have them go all over the country to play at the highest level. And I'm sure you've seen our schedule. We play a great schedule, so the girls have the opportunity to play and compete at the highest level while also getting a great education here at UMKC. So these 4 girls are all local girls, and all 4 of them last year were first team all conference. So first team all WAC. First time in our conference history that a school has had 4 first team all conference players in the same year, because our conferences, some conferences, will name 16, 18, 20 players. Our conference just names an 11 So we had 4 of the 11, and it was these 4 girls that I'm extremely proud of. So I'm going to introduce them real quick. So to my left is Abby Small, and Abby is going into her junior year, and Abby is St. Teresa's Academy, just right down the street, is where she played her high school, and she was first team all-conference defender and WAC Defensive Player of the Year. So WAC Defensive Player of the Year this past year as a sophomore, so we're extremely proud of Abby. Next to Abby is Lexie Howard, and Lexie is going into her senior year here. Lexie's from Kearney, played at Kearney High School, and Lexie is our captain, serving as captain for the 2nd year now already, served as a junior and as a senior. It's a first team all-conference and WAC Offensive Player of the Year. So we have the Defensive Player of the Year in the conference and the Offensive Player of the Year in the conference. So that was pretty exciting. And next to Lexie is Reagan Childers. Reagan is going into her senior year, and Reagan is from Grain Valley High School here in the Kansas City area. Reagan is center mid. Those of you that see Reagan play, she controls the game, she controls the midfield. She's pretty much been an all-conference player every year that she's been here, and also throughout her career, she has also earned all-region, United Soccer Coaches all-region. So we're very proud of Reagan and very happy to have her and Lexie serve the team this year as our co-captains. And next to Reagan is Kelsey Mothershead. Kelsey Mothershead is a senior forward from Smithville, played at Smithville High School. Goal scoring machine, another player that's pretty much been all conference for us about every year. Typically leads the team in scoring, or up there in scoring, and leads the conference in scoring, one of the fastest players in the WAC, and very excited for her to be going into her senior year and see what she does this year as well. And just like all these other girls too, not only has Kelsey earned all conference in her career, but she has also earned all region from the United Soccer Coaches as well. So really, really good players, really good people, and one of the things that I'm extremely proud of, not only everything that they've accomplished on the field, but every single one of these girls is like a 3.8 to a 4.0 grade point average too, which is something that we obviously are really, really proud of, and all of these girls are heavily, heavily involved in community service as well. So I'm a very proud coach. I love these girls. So I think it will be
Well, thanks for taking time out of your schedules to be here. So we thought we'd start off with the question, open up the panel, looking back for the players and for the coaches also, after your first month of college soccer, what was your biggest surprise? That, something you hadn't anticipated, something that surprised you that you haven't prepared for, that you wish you'd known about?
I think the speed of play is just so much more intense in the college soccer. Even from playing on a very competitive club team, it's just a whole other level. And you don't really get used to it until you're thrown in the situation and you just experience it. After a few games, you finally get into it. But that's the biggest thing. Go ahead.
I think in talking to some of my high school girls, we're fortunate for the spring, and then the college soccer season is the fall, so they're jumping right into it. I would say they come back to me like, Coach, it's really a physical game when you get to college. The girls are stronger, the girls hit harder, it's a little bit more, and you have to be able to remember that a high school hit is going to be different than a college hit. That's a foul. You have to be prepared for that. Not saying it's illegal or anything, it's just more aggressive than the college game, and getting them mentally prepared for that, to be able to still play the game, and not get distracted by that level of physical.
I think also we're lucky that we have 2 weeks of preseason where we don't have school yet to really adjust to soccer and the speed of play. But also one thing I noticed is we tend to start games before school even starts. So once school does start, time management is a huge thing that you need to understand and learn, because we start season in the fall and it's go from the first day of school.
And I would almost even say that during the season, it's easier to manage your time because you have so much less of it. So in your hour of time, you're like, okay, I'll do school.
And everything's so scheduled.
Yeah, which is kind of nice. I know my freshman year, my GPA was better in the fall in our
Our season GPA was better last fall than in the spring when we had more time.
we We fell from a 3.71 all the way down to a 3.61. So we're pretty good. But I think as a coach, I think it's speed of play, speed of thought. I mean, all these girls were phenomenal players in high school and club and played at the highest level. But even every freshman comes in, and Jeff and I are dealing with it right now. We have 8 freshmen on our team right now that just went through their first day of 2-a-days yesterday. And it's just amazing, like the first hit, you know, like you're talking about, Sarah, the first hit, the first tackle. But it's just, everything is so much quicker, so much faster, and everybody's good. Like, that's one of the things freshmen said to me yesterday is, we have 26 on our roster right now. I think some of the rosters have been handed out, but everyone is good. Every single player here is good. Everyone has a good first touch. Everyone has good vision. Everyone has good skill. Everyone's technical, and it's just it's a tough adjustment at first. But I think a lot of it is the mental part. You know, because you got to bring it every day. You got to bring it every day. You got to be consistent every day. You got to be mentally tough. We had fitness tests yesterday, and a lot of passing the fitness tests is just, you know, how mentally strong are you? Can you push yourself? Can you push yourself when your tank's a little on low? Do you have the mental toughness to just keep going? And I think that's one of the things that I think the girls have to learn coming into the college level is just how competitive it is. And what I think we always forget about too, when you're coming in from your senior year of high school, you were the star. You know, you were the star, more than likely, right? You were the star of your team, your senior year. You were the best player. You were the captain. You were all state. You were all metro. You were all this. And now you come in, and now you're the freshman again. And now you're coming in, and if you're a freshman now on our team, you're coming in, you got to compete against these girls who were all first team, all WAC, all region, all world last year, and now you're on the same field with them, trying to play against them. And these girls are doing everything in their power to make sure that that freshman doesn't come in and win their spot. So it's super competitive, super competitive.
So here's a question. For the players that are in high school now, what are some habits or things they can start when they're in high school? Obviously freshman in high school is pretty early, but even junior, senior year, what are some things that they can do in terms of mentally preparing, habits they can build, they can start doing when they're at that age to help prepare them for that level, for that big, that intensity and that mental requirement?
I would say that just don't get in the habit of being lazy. I very easily could have half-hearted high school soccer training sessions and gotten away with it. I don't know, it's easy to just go through the motions. But if you really want to get in a habit of working hard and being intense, then you have to start it young, start it as a freshman. Go, even when coach isn't requiring you to sprint 3 hard steps after you make a pass, just do it. Create good habits in training and expect more out of yourself than even maybe your high school coach does. I'd say it's a good start.
I'd also say remember to find your passion and remember to love the game, because it's a lot of work, especially once you do transition from high school to college. There's a lot more that goes into it, and if you're not loving it and you don't have that passion, it's going to be hard. So as long as you remember why you started playing, why you love the game, then that makes it a lot better.
I think something we're fortunate doing, we do an alumni event gathering where we have an alumni practice against some of our current players. And they get to see the level of, that they're calling, oh my goodness, okay, she's a lot faster, let's go back to this. For them to get that view right before they're going into college soccer and realize, that's what they have to reach, that's their goal to kind of compete with. And also, we've heard a lot, when I played, there was not as much soccer to go watch. Now we have UMKC, we have KU, we have K-State, we have amazing college level teams. Unfortunately, the professional team is not here anymore, but we have those to go see. And I'll always remember seeing the very, very, very first KU soccer game that was played at Westridge Middle School. I was in middle school watching it, and just seeing that those girls were college girls playing. And so for high schoolers to not just get stuck in their bubble of club and of high school, just seeing that, but to go out there and really go out there and see the other players, the top players, and what they do to be the top players.
Was there anything that helped in terms of in terms of keeping that focus and the passion? What different things worked? Was it having a trainer, or was it having a teammate that pushed you? Can we talk about, don't just do what your coach asks you to do, but what helped push you or motivate you or inspire you when you were
was personally very lucky with my club to have lots of amazing coaches. And so, I would play as much as I could, because obviously playing is almost everyone's favorite thing to do. And so I thought that's where I was gonna get my fitness, my touch on the ball, a lot of it. And I really sought out trying to get different coaches. So I had Coach Brad, Reagan's dad, and then Warren was my primary coach. And then when I got to high school, I had a new coach. So I really liked having the different aspects and coaching techniques and learning from new people rather than staying in the same, with the same person, growing up.
I think from the high school coach standpoint, we need to remember that we need to keep challenging those players, even your top players. You need to keep them driven, keep them with a passion. It's little things. I'm a high school math teacher, so I get to daily teach the subject that no one likes. So I've had to really focus on, I'm sure you guys all love math.
She was
Not that. But relationships are huge, especially with your soccer players. You have this top player who, they're gonna have a great game every game, but not forgetting about them. Keep challenging them, giving them little quotes, little inspirational messages, having little side talks with them. Don't just focus on your weak players. Make sure you're managing your top players and keeping them hungry. And that usually helps cause a waterfall of leadership on your team.
That's a great point. I think that's where we're so fortunate right now is with our leadership. Sometimes I feel like I'm actually going into my 20th year already as a college head coach, which makes me feel really old. But I started coaching at William Jewell in 1999, and so this is my 20th season as a head, either men's or women's college soccer coach. And kind of learned over the 20 years, sometimes you're only as strong as your leadership within the team. And we are so fortunate right now. I know Jeff and Hannah are back there too, agree that without the leadership, not only from these four, but from the senior class that we have, they push everything and they hold the team accountable. And so we run the training sessions, but they run the team. And they run the team outside of the field, and in the locker room, and in the cafeteria, and in the dorms, and in the apartments, and in the hotels, and the airports, and the restaurants. These girls are the ones that are holding the team accountable. And when you get to that trust in your leadership within your team, then you've got something really special. So we're very fortunate right now to have these girls and the way that they lead our team right now.
Maybe questions they want to ask?
I'm really interested in what seems to be the increasing push of parents and athletes and coaches for recruiting younger and younger and younger.
Right.
So I'm interested in the athletes' experiences of recruiting or relative recruiting age. And then as high school and college coaches, how you do the dance with 7th and 8th graders who think they want to get recruited or maybe are getting recruited. So what's that like, especially in the women's game?
Well, I know for us, we all were recruited really early. And for me, as a freshman in high school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, so it was very overwhelming. But with all the coaches that I had, they were very helpful in trying to make the process a lot easier. And we've all been on the same club team as well, so just talking to them and having your teammates to actually help you kind of calm you down a little bit, because it is very stressful. You don't know what you're going to do, and you have to decide right then and there.
When did you receive your first recruiting solicitation?
Freshman year of high school. So, but I have a lot of resources. Sorry, a lot of resources that helps me kind of pick and choose. Okay, calm down and help me get a plan of what I wanted to do, and just start actually thinking of the things, which was really helpful in my situation. I found coaches to be a huge, my high school and club coaches to be a huge help in the process, because obviously when we're freshmen and sophomores in high school, we can't outright talk to them unless they answer when we call. And so it was a big help also because our coaches have been through that, so they were a big tool to help bridge the gap between it, because they understood kind of if Coach Cissell was talking to them, what he was looking for, or what he liked about us, and he could let us know or work on that with us if he wanted to see something.
kind of reinforcing that, I think it's super important for the girls as club coach club coaches and high school coaches have good relationships with college coaches. Just like my dad's a club coach, and someone will be like, oh, like I want to play soccer. He knows their level, like how good they are. He knows academically how they're doing. And be like, oh, I know Joe, Bob, and Billy. You know, great guys coaching here, here, and here. What do you think? And he's able to be that liaison. But it starts with them having good relationships with coaches all around.
Women's soccer had gotten out of control. I mean, it really had, in my opinion. I say that as a Division I head coach. If we were recruiting way too young, even here, then I contacted all them when they were freshmen. I had to. If I don't contact them when they're freshmen, I lose them. You know, and so we want to be competitive. We want to be the best we can be. So if Jeff and I wait around until they're juniors and seniors, these players would have all been committed for 2 years. And that's just the honest truth of the way it works. Now, the new legislation I think is phenomenal. I'm a big fan of it. I don't know if everybody in the room is aware of it, but the new legislation that was just passed by the NCAA is that we cannot have any visits, any unofficial visits or official visits now until September 1 of their junior year, which I think is huge. And I think is a great step for our sport and a great step by the NCAA. I mean, early recruiting still happens. It still goes on. There's still a lot of ways that coaches are figuring out how to circumvent that if they really want to. But I think the fact that there is legislation in place and that most of the coaches are following that, and I know here at UMKC we're trying to push our recruiting back, you know, to wait until September 1st of their junior year now, I think is phenomenal, because I just think it's really, really difficult to ask a 15-year-old what they want to do with the rest of their life, where they want to go to college, what they want to major in. You know, I just think that's a very, very difficult decision. That we're offering soccer scholarships to girls before they get their driver's license, and I think that's crazy. So I'm a big fan of the new legislation.
Do you realistically think you can evaluate where they're going to be 4 years from 5 years out? I mean, I've seen an 8th grader commit this year to so-and-so, right?
Yeah, we know.
I find it extremely difficult to believe that anybody can project that far ahead.
No, that's a great question, Steve. I think that's tough. I mean, it's hard. That's our job. It's our profession. I think we make mistakes. Sometimes we make mistakes, and think the girls how are they going to progress? How are they going to develop? And there's a lot that goes into it. With what high school are they at? What's their high school coach like? What's their club coach like? What's their family like? What's their attitude? What's their demeanor like? What's their work rate? I mean, there's a lot of work that goes in, and you've got to make some tough decisions. I mean, luckily, obviously, we did really, really well here, but we don't hit a home run every time, so to speak. We don't get it right every single time, and that's very, very difficult. And it's very difficult then on those girls and their families as well. Maybe when we recruited someone as a freshman and sophomore, and then by the time they're 18, 19, 20 years old trying to play Division I soccer, maybe they're not at the same level, maybe they're not at the same commitment level. I think what happens a lot, it's tough for a lot of us too, is college coaches and high school coaches, is the girls commit and then they go on vacation, so to speak. They're like, hey, I got my scholarship, I got my commitment, I know where I'm going, I can chill out for a while, I'm not going to go to this event, I'm not going to go to Florida or Texas or California or Carolina because I've already got my scholarship, or I can go into high school practice and I'm just going to make sure I don't get hurt. I'm just going to go through the motions and make sure I don't get hurt because I want to keep my. So there's a lot of things in that situation that I think is very difficult on all of us. High school coaches, club coaches, college coaches. So hopefully, going back again, hopefully with most of the recruiting now, hopefully will start to happen in the junior year. That will be a little bit better for all of us.
I think it's also important that parents don't do all the work. And a lot of parents, when their daughter makes varsity soccer their freshman year, they're like, oh, they're going D1. That's not always the case. It could just be a bad team for there. You could have a very talented daughter, but maybe Division I is not where the future holds. Make sure that your daughter does the work. Whenever the girls come talk to me, I'm like, hey coach, can you email? It's like, well, I don't just want to email one, I want several. Have you really looked at the soccer and the school and the majors? Like all of that stuff. Is it a big school? Is it a small school? If you looked at all that, like, coach, I don't know. I'm like, well, you gotta go research. Then when you contact them, then I'll follow up too. But if you're not doing the work, and if I hear your mom and dad are doing the work, then how do I know that you're truly committed? Because also when high school coaches are contacting the college coaches, we're putting our reputations out there. And if it's something that the daughter really doesn't want, then, you know, we shouldn't be putting our reputation out there because we want to do what's best for the daughter. If it's not college soccer, parents need to realize that maybe that's not what they want. And also, maybe they're going to do better at NAIA Division II. We have amazing programs around and that are very successful. It doesn't always have to be Division I. So make sure your daughter is also excited about that as well.
Yeah, I would say that's a huge point. Everybody, like, I mean, I'm a Division I head coach, but I've coached at the NAIA level and I've coached at the Division II level. And people need to go where it's the best fit. I mean, I think everybody needs to get out of their head that D1, 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 D1. I mean, I just don't think that's the right mentality to have in the recruiting process. I mean, like I said, like the Division II schools around here, the NAIA schools around here are phenomenal programs, great schools, great coaches. And I think too many people put all their stock in just playing Division I. And I think they need to look more at the whole school, their education, what the experience is like, and playing time. I mean, you know, like that's another big thing. There's a lot of girls, I think, that will push themselves into D1, but then maybe not play very much, where if they would have gone to Division II or NAIA, they might have been a starter, a 90-minute player, you know, a star, and that might be a more fun, better college experience for them. So I think that's one of the things too that I would encourage, you know, high school and club coaches to do too, is not always think that you've got to push everybody to Division I. There's a lot of great programs, a lot of great scholarships out there at the Division II and NAIA level as well.
I have a question, if you don't mind. When you're talking about recruiting high school athletes, so much of the focus is on the club coach and the club itself and what team you play for. But Sarah, I'm curious, as a high school coach, what would you recommend to high school coaches as far as being involved in that process? And what are some things that you do when you know, because with a club team, and I'm assuming for all of you, the good majority of your team probably went on to play college soccer, I would assume. So for you, who maybe has one or two players who may potentially be college players, how do you see yourself as being relevant in that process? And what are some things you do and some things you would recommend to our high school coaches?
So one thing you said earlier, networking. It's very, very big. I was fortunate, like I said, I played at KU, so a lot of those coaches know me. I've worked a lot of camps with other college coaches. I've done my licensing. I'm going to start going through United Soccer Coaches, but I've done my U.S. soccer licensing. So coaches around here know me. So usually if I'm contacting, they usually are trusting. In my opinion, I'm not just trying to get, you know, a C-team player that just wants to play to try to go to Division I. If I'm contacting them, you know, making sure that it's a respected talent. It's something that they will believe. So it really helps that I know a lot of the coaches in the area, outside of the area, and have kept positive relationships with them. Whether they were an assistant and now they're a Division I coach or a head coach somewhere, you know, they know my name, so I can contact them. Little things like that helps. So it's not just a cold email of, I know you don't know me, but you know, they're like, hey, how are you doing? All of that stuff. But I'm really big with, my players have to contact first, and then I'll follow up. I'll do whatever they need to help with that. I know club is great here. I'm very fortunate to have a successful high school program because we kind of run it like a college program to get them ready for that next level. But I'm very big on the club and the high school coach communicating with it. Very fortunate success with that we're on the same page.
You want to talk a little bit about, you mentioned how you run your program to prepare them for college. Can you talk a little bit about how, what goes into that and what you do?
I mean, a lot of them, you know, a lot of high school programs have fitness tests, and they know we stick to it. My girls know if they don't pass this fitness test, they're not stepping on the field. They might not even make the team. That we hold them accountable. My girls, a lot of the other players, like opponents, really think I'm like the meanest coach ever. I think they're like scared of me. I don't know if it's because I'm one of the few female coaches in 6A for Kansas high school or not, but some of my friends are laughing because they're also scared of me too. But no, we keep an intense atmosphere. You know, we push them to the limit. We make sure that they have a goal in mind, they know the topic of practice, they all realize what we're trying to get it focused towards. We also have game management practices, you know, we are addressing the scouting report of the team and stuff. It's not just getting technical work, but tactical as well, making sure they're smart players, but also keeping the passion. You know, I think as a coach, this is going to be my 12th year as a head varsity coach. And when I was younger, it was had to be intense, had to be intense, had to be intense all the time. And realizing that they are just 15 to 18-year-olds, sometimes you need to play soccer, tennis, just to get them to relax too, because maybe your pressure and intensity is stressing them out in a negative way. Those are like, they only remember two things: the most insane fitness I ever gave them, and the fun practices, where like I took them to Sonic for a drink or something. Doing those little things, I think, making sure that they stay having fun. You know, it also happened in college when I played as well. We'd have those fun practices, and I loved it because it reminded me it wasn't just about winning; it was about growing and having fun.
Well, you know, a really common question is that we hear a lot from like players and parents in high school is if a player is interested in playing college, is it better for their child to play high school, put their focus on high school soccer or on club soccer? And maybe part of the answer is look at the high school program. If it's run like yours is, then it's a really good preparation. But I know it's a really common question, so it would be interesting to hear from you guys what your opinions are, or your experiences have been, what you might suggest to someone who's saying, you know, do I play for my high school team or do I play for my club team?
I'm big on high school, obviously, and club. Just, sorry, I have an opinion on that. But I'm also big on where the girls will have fun. If they have this club passion and that's their love, then maybe they should stick with that. But if they want to come to the high school where they're representing their school, they get to get their friends out there with the lights, play their Shawnee Mission East rival, who they're in attendance right now. With all of that, you know, I know my girls love that. It's not just about the game, it's about representing their school. So you can still have success playing in high school and club. I'm very big on that. I don't think you should have to choose, but if you do, and that's your plan, then stick with it. That's what you said.
Yeah, for us, that's a tough question, and it's a tough dilemma. I mean, we recruit everything. We recruit everything. We're at all the high school games that we can be at. We're at all the high school playoffs. We're at Development Academy games, ECNL games, MRL, regionals, NPL. I mean, between Jeff and I, we worked about every camp in the Midwest, I think, this summer. So we see players everywhere, and we don't discriminate. You know, whether you're DA, ECNL, NPL, you know, whatever acronym you want to be, we're cool with that. You know, I think a lot of the high school coaches that are in the room would attest to the fact too that we talk to high school coaches. I know there's a lot of talk out there that Division I coaches don't talk to high school coaches. We talk to high school coaches. We come to your games. We email you. We ask you questions about your players, especially once players have come in for a visit. Once we've gotten that interest level, we really want to know from the high school coach, what are they like? What are they like? You see them every day. You see them every day in the hallways. You might teach them in class. You know, you have a really good idea of what they're like, what their character's like, what their integrity's like, what their work rate's like, what kind of teammate are they. So, it's a lot of work. Like Jeff and I are trying to be. I mean, we can't be everywhere, but we try to be, and we try to go to every single event. And of course, you know, they schedule everything at the same time, always do. So it's very, very difficult on us. But I think like this summer, I feel like we did a really good job, at least as a staff, of being about everywhere we could possibly be, and saw so many players, and I think it was a productive summer for us. But I think for me, like I have 4 kids of my own, so also as a parent, I think it's just what's best for your kid. You know, what's best for your kid? What's is it high school? Is it, you know, ECNL? Is it DA? What is the best for your kid, and not worry about everything else. I mean, like I said, all 4 of my kids have played. All 4 of my kids have played at all the different levels. I've done all the different things. So, and I think it's, and they've all enjoyed it, and they've all had a lot of fun. So I think it's just, you've got to figure out, which is really tough, but you got to figure out sometimes as a parent or as a coach, you know, just what's best for your kid, what's best in the long run.
For the athletes, did you all play senior high school soccer, or did you?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
did?
I have something to say for this. So, for the difference for me with club and high school, I went to a really small high school, Green Valley, and so the level was much different than club. But for me, it actually allowed me to develop almost another side of me as a player. So in club, I was just like this middle player, just give it, center of it, give it. And in high school, all of a sudden, I could take people on 1v1, and
people relied on me more, so I almost was able to develop, which I was able to apply to myself in club soccer. So that's what I would say. I was glad also for the social sense in high school. I was homeschooled until I got to high school, so because I played soccer, it allowed me to have a social life in high school, which is also healthy, super healthy. So I guess I am a proponent for playing both, but not just going through the motions in high school soccer. Not taking it for granted, taking like a couple months off, but going hard.
I would say the same thing, because, as long as like your high school has a program, because my district that I live in didn't have a program. I was lucky enough to go somewhere that had a great, amazing program. I went to St. Teresa's and it was amazing. It's all I could ever ask for in a high school program. But even if it's not like this great amazing thing, I think like Reagan said, it's a new skill to develop, a new coaching style. And it's also a way to challenge yourself as a player, because maybe that coach doesn't see you as a center. Maybe that coach sees you as a forward or as a right back. And that way you get to develop new skills you might not in club where you have your set position already.
I also think it helps build like the passion, because it's not as intense. I mean, you work hard every day, but there's just something different about high school soccer than club soccer. I remember like freshman or sophomore year, and there was like 400 people in our stands. Like that was insane. And I got to represent my school, my town. Everybody was coming out. So there's just something special about high school soccer. But I loved club. There's no doubt I loved club. But just
Yeah.
having both.
I agree with Lexie, like they are two different levels. Our club was really high level and it was very intense and it was still fun, but then going to high school where it isn't, like I went to a smaller school as well, and it's not as intense, but you still get that passion, because in my opinion, you still, like she said earlier, you have to have the intense, but then you also have to have fun to keep the passion. And so for me, it was a good balance from going from high intensity, working all the time, to still working and getting your skill and continuing to grow, but then also having more of a fun way, and also being with your friends, and not saying that club would be a number of friends, but just like the ones that you see every single day. And I
They
think
just like going through the hallways every day and having everybody in school congratulate for their hat trick last night. That's what they like.
it's also like with the people in the stands, it's a precursor to like the feeling you're gonna have if you play in college. Yeah. Because you obviously don't have the same amount of people come to your club games. So it's really cool to have that feeling too.
And that is interesting, even as a college coach. Like I went to a lot of high school games, like saw some like unbelievable crowds. Atmospheres were awesome, and I think that's cool. And I think that's cool for the kids to get to play in front of that. And then I've gone to DA games, and I've been the only one there. I mean, the only one there besides the parents. You know, and it's just like I think those kids are missing out on a lot. I'm just being honest. Like that's go in front of the high school and play some of these events I've seen your teams be, and then when you're talking about the sectional games and the Final Fours and stuff, and you've got thousands of people watching 15 to 18-year-old girls play soccer, that is so cool. And that is a great atmosphere, and it's something that those girls are going to remember for the rest of their life. So I think that's, as a college coach, I like that. We try to have big crowds. We want all you guys to come watch us play. And we want to have big attendance at games, and I think it's fun when we do, and I think these girls really thrive off the crowds, and I think the girls that have played in high school in front of big crowds, it gives them that experience too, which is, I personally think that's pretty cool, pretty fun to play in front of big crowds. And how do you handle that? How do you handle that when you've got a big crowd either cheering you on or cheering against you? How do you handle that?
We have a question that came in off of Facebook. It's more directed for the girls. Are there certain majors, I guess coaches as well, are there certain majors that make it more difficult to play at the college level? For example, UMKC offers a 6-year MD program. I would imagine that would be too intensive a program to devote the required time to athletics, but are there examples of majors that may not be conducive to being a student athlete?
We have like 6 nursing majors on our team. And I know like a lot of times some programs might shy away from that, but we they make it a priority, obviously with our grade point average, like, it's also school, not just soccer. I mean, personally, I'm an electrical and computer engineering major, and I just had to learn time management, because if I don't utilize my extra time, I won't get it done. And I need to complete school because that's what I'm here for. And also soccer is just icing on the cake, basically. So.
Yeah, that's a big thing that Cissell really does, is it tries to accommodate all majors, which is super nice, because with nursing, you can do a 5-year, but towards the end, you have clinicals where you literally will work all day. But he does a really good job of trying to make sure that our practice schedule is where everyone can be there, and try to help really make sure that we're getting our schooling and also being able to be at all of our practices.
I think that's one thing parents and players need to check, because when I was going to school, I wanted to do math education, and the education program told me I couldn't do it, it wasn't possible to play soccer, they told me to quit. And I was like, whoa, I need to play soccer, so it's giving me a scholarship, I'd be able to do this. And the academic department, the athletic department really helped out, making sure I had tutors, making sure that all of that, they said, we're gonna make it happen, give you all the resources if you just put in the work and energy.
Yeah, it's crazy how much athletics has your back as an athlete, with the free tutors, and we have study hall times when we're on the road, just mandatory. Okay, everyone meet down at the lobby. We have 2 hours to study, and most girls you have to pry them away from the study hall because they're glued to it. But I think we do. I remember in high school always hearing it's going to be hard. No one's ever going to tell you when your test is. You're just gonna, if you don't write it down, you're going to show up. But you'll be surprised as an athlete how much they have your back, and it's made the transition super easy.
Our whole freshman year, transitioning from high school into college, we had academic mentors that we met with every week. They went over our grades, all of our assignments coming up, big papers that were going to be due. So our freshman year, really when we were transitioning, it was a huge thing. And a lot of programs have a lot of tools available to you. There's a lot of, I don't know a program that wouldn't make you do study hall or study on the road, or it's a big deal to make you succeed.
I think the girls, answered it well. We have every major here right now. I know every program is different, but we have every major from pre-med, pre-pharmacy, nurses, a couple different engineers, education, business. We've got everything, and then like the girl said, we just work really hard to schedule around. Sometimes some semesters we practice 7 to 9 a.m., some semesters we practice 7 to 9 p.m. So we just try to do our best to schedule around all of their classes and all of their labs and clinicals and everything. So.
Did any of you play other sports in high school?
I did. I played basketball.
I played basketball.
Played 1 semester of basketball.
I had a question for the coaches. At the beginning, we talked about sort of the transition from high school to college and what that entailed and what was surprising and all those types of things. When you're looking at players and you're evaluating them, whether at the high school level, deciding if they're going to be ready to move on to college, and recruiting, what are some of the mental attributes that you look for in a player that lets you know that they can make that transition and be successful?
It's a very good question, but I think just seeing how they handle adversity, like in games, if you're watching games, maybe they're losing, maybe they're not having their best game. A lot of things we look at too, how do they handle getting subbed out? What's their attitude towards their coach and towards their teammates when they maybe aren't having their best game and they get subbed out. Or we've gone to games, I'm just being completely honest, we've gone to games and been in absolute love with the girl. Just couldn't wait to go watch her play, and seeing her yell and scream at the referee and yell and scream at her coach and left and never followed up. So I think there's a big part of the mental aspect and a big part of being a good teammate. I think that's one of the things that it's hard to watch. It's hard to figure that out when you're watching, but I think when you watch as much soccer and watch as many players play, you can pick up on things pretty quickly. Pick up on how do they interact with their teammates, how do they interact with their coaches, how do they interact with their parents even. What's that relationship like? Because if they have bad relations? Are they gonna bring that into our chemistry, into our family, into our unity? Because right now, we're a really tight group, and so we really try to focus on what type of people, not just what type of soccer players and what type of students, but what type of people, what type of character and integrity are we bringing into the locker room? So I don't know if that answered it, but I mean, and then that's a lot of it too, I think, with the high school coaches. I know with a lot of the high school coaches in the room, I know I've called just, tell me more about them. I know what they're like as a player. I've seen them play several times. What are they like as a person? What are they like at training? What are they like in the hallway? What are they like, I want to know them more as a person and what kind of teammate are they?
As a high school coach, unfortunately, I get to see their academics as well. And they all know that. They all know I get to see the tardies, everything. And for some reason, parents really love when it's soccer season because their GPAs for some reason get even better, or tardies get a little bit more limited. But I'm pretty fortunate that most of the time I don't have to keep an eye on those as much, but just those little things, if they're not doing well in the school, I'll let college coaches know that. Be like, well, they do okay at practice, but I'm not sure how they're going to do academically, and that's a big thing because why would a college coach want a player that might not be successful? They might not even be able to play up the field because of their academics.
If there's one more question for the girls, I'd like if we could maybe wrap up with the girls so they could get ready to go warm up because we were going to start trying to train at 10. So if anybody has one last question for them.
I'm just curious, during your high school club careers, did you ever get times where you felt like you were burning out or you didn't indeed burn out? Because the pressure, I appreciate, must have really intense. So
I struggled junior year really bad. I didn't know if I had what it took to play. So I actually switched teams and fell in love with soccer. And I spent more time focusing on why I started and the passion aspect rather than just like getting better. I needed to love soccer. And so I focused on that my junior year, which I think ultimately is what kept me going.
was the club switch kind of a lateral? Was it perceived as a lateral switch, or was it perceived as you dropped down a level, or was it just?
No, I don't think so. I was playing with an older team. I switched to my age group. I needed to find joy in it. And they were like, these girls who I'm with now. And I don't know, there was just something I needed with the friendships built in soccer. And so it wasn't just the soccer aspect, it's like everything as a whole needed to change for me. And it did.
Thank God Lexie found her passion. Conference Player of the Year, so definitely I'm glad. Thank you that she found her passion. But I think that's huge. I mean, with the college soccer too, it's very intense. So they have to love the game. Like if any of you come and watch us train after this, I think our practices are fun. I mean, I'm obviously very biased, but I think they're fun, and I think they have to be. I think it can't always be just hard work, and no fun. I mean, they're 18 to 22-year-old women, and if they're not having any fun, they're not gonna stick around. They're not gonna work hard. So the training session that we have today is, I think, something that they like. And when they like a drill, when they like an activity, when they like something, they work that much harder. So I think that's something I think that sometimes is a challenge for us as coaches too, is to really find a way to make it fun, but also really make sure that we get better and make sure that we're competitive and that it's not always just fun. So there's a real tough balance sometimes, I think, for all of us, for all the coaches in the room to keep it competitive, but to also keep it really fun.
I think it's also go back to the relationships, and I know he does a good job with his, but I know it was way back when, but I almost quit my junior year as well. Just wasn't liking it, wasn't playing, and I lost passion. Fortunately, I had a coach, Shawnee, for those who remember her at University of Kansas. I went in and cried my eyes out to her, but I at least had that coach that I could share my true feelings and emotions on how I was hurting, because I needed to share that to vent and to have her talk me through it, and fortunately I did, and I thank her so much that it helped me stick all 4 years at KU. So, making sure that you have those coaches that you don't just trust soccer-wise, but you also trust them, that you can be able to talk to them and truly be open about your feelings, and that they help you with that, which I know he does a very, very good job.
there any more?
So we all have that thing where we're like, oh man, I wish our girls came in knowing this, or we're better at this, or any of that kind of stuff. So Coach Cissell, give us some advice. What do we need to be doing more of with recruiting, with training, any of that kind of stuff? How can we better prepare the girls?
You know what, I think the best thing to do, honestly, is try to get the girls and the families to go see more games. And I think it's amazing to me how many people choose a college or choose where they're going to go without ever seeing that team play. And that happens all the time. I think it's amazing. To me, I try to use analogy like, how many of us would buy a car without ever seeing that car, without ever taking it for a test drive? But so many girls out there are choosing their colleges, choosing where they're going to go without ever seeing that team play, without ever seeing how does that coach interact in a game, how are the players interacting with the coach, what's the atmosphere like at their games. And it's really easy now too, to today's age, because almost every college has all their games, web streamed. So even if you can't make it to the actual stadium, can't make it to see the actual game in person, you can watch on TV. And I feel like, or on the computer, whatever. But I feel like what happens a lot is we know girls, and we know that this where they're going doesn't fit. Nothing against the other coach, but maybe a team is very, very direct. Maybe a team's very, very direct, and this is a real small technical center mid that has to have the ball played at her feet, and we know she's going to go to college and she's going to be doing this the whole time, just watching the ball go back and forth, and she's never going to have the ball at her feet. She's never going to play the style of soccer that she is, and they're not going to use her technical ability, her tactical ability. But the girls and the families don't know that because they've never seen that team play. And I said earlier, I've been coaching for college for 20 years too. If I could tell you how many kids have talked to me, boys and girls, about, I went to this school, but I don't know why I went there, because that's not the way I play. That's not the tactics. That's not the technique. I'm a winger, and we never get the ball out wide. I'm a dribbler. I like to take people one-on-one, and my coach makes me play 1 and 2 touch the whole time. If I dribble, I get subbed out. And it's like, well, how did you not know this before you went there? How did you not figure that out in the recruiting process? Or how did you not go watch games and pick up on that? So I know that's a long answer, but I think that's really, really important, and I think it's amazing how often that happens, and how often that even happens to us, is girls say they're interested in us, and I'm like, well, have you ever seen us play? And they're like, no. Well, how do you know you're interested in us? I like UMKC, or I heard you're a nice guy, or I like one-armed coaches, or whatever it is. No, you really need to come watch us play, and you need to see what we're really like, and see what our style, and see if you would fit in, and make sure we have your major and all that kind of stuff. But I really think it's amazing how many kids make that college decision without really watching and studying and finding out. Or coaches, like, we can be really different, like we can be really nice in a room like this, but then maybe we're a jerk at training, or maybe we're a jerk in the game day situation, and they don't realize that till they get there, and then they're like, oh, this wasn't the guy or girl that recruited me, this is a totally different person. So, but I think if they would have gone to a game or talked to current players, maybe they would have picked up on that. So, I know it's a really long answer, but I think that's really, really, really important, and something that we really miss out on, like through clubs, high schools, everybody, we kind of miss out on doing more research about the college and the program and the team and all that. Like meeting with players, like, I think is great if they can do that wherever they go, because I think as coaches, we will always kind of, we have our spiel, so to speak, or we have our business line, or we're trying to sell you on coming here. The girls are like super honest, oh my gosh. And the girl, like I know with our girls, like if anybody asks them a question, they'll just flat out tell them. I mean, sometimes I even wish they weren't so honest, to be honest, when we have a top recruit in, but at the end of the day, it's like we want them to know everything. We want them to have that decision. We want them to know what's the best thing about UMKC and what's the absolute worst thing about UMKC. What's the worst thing about playing for Coach Cissell? Like, we tell them all that stuff, so when they get here, they already know.
I think it's also key for the players to see if they get along with the freshmen and sophomores on their recruiting trip, because those are the ones that they're going to be with the majority of the time. So I might tell my players on a recruiting trip, like, these are your teammates for 3 years, you gotta think about, so it's,
That's a really good point.
If I can go back to a question that kind of piggybacking off of what Sean said earlier, when you were talking about recruiting and focusing on the type of people they are.
Yeah.
It's been in the news a lot recently, so do you guys, I guess twofold, do you pay attention to their social media? And then two, do you guys have a social media policy for your teams?
We do pay attention to their social media. Hannah Kalmeyer, who was just in here with Jeff, is our graduate assistant coach. Like it's she follows everybody on the team, everybody follows her, and she goes through the social media. Not every day, to be honest, but I mean, if anything comes up, I mean, we are notified and we let that girl know right away. But we have social media training as part of our preseason. Very first day, we moved in on July 31st, 2 days ago. Couldn't start training until yesterday. So one of our meetings was about social media and what's acceptable and what's not acceptable to post, and and how that will affect you for the rest of your life and looking for a job. And so we take that very seriously. And said our graduate assistant coach is making sure to follow everyone on the team. So that's a good question.
there's policies in every district has a different one. But I can tell you if a girl is posting something bad about me, what I want to hear. I might not be able to have her released from the team, but if she's not respecting what we're doing, then that's, being respectful, very disrespectful to me. She wouldn't say that to my face. So I don't follow them, but there are people that will let me know. We've had situations where we've had to address that, and it's been addressed, and they've definitely learned their lesson. I'll just say that. They're not just representing like themselves or representing West or representing all that, and they've really had to, learn that lesson, some of them the hard way. But then they do realize that whenever they're doing out there, and they're part of the West program, that affected Coach Gonzalez as well. And now I have to try to make eye contact with her and apologize for that. So they've learned their lessons. I think they're doing better, but this is just a tough age right now.
Thank God there wasn't social media when I was in college.
I'm looking at your roster, and you say your roster 26.
Correct.
You've got essentially 4 for grade level, except for the freshman level, you've got 8.
Right.
Is that due to attrition? Is that pretty normal?
We usually, almost every recruiting class is usually bring in between 6 and 8. So, and then sometimes, so it always ends up being in that roster spot of 24 to 30. But last year we carried 24 on the team. This year we have 26. So, but it just kind of depends on the recruiting classes and how many are graduating. Like this year we have I think 6 or 7 seniors. So, last year we only had 5 seniors, and we brought in 8. So it's just one of those things that each recruiting class is different. But I would say we're working right now in the 2020s, and we're going to try to bring in 6 in that class. So we just brought in 8 in the 18 class, and we have 8 verbally committed to us right now in the 19 class.
Do you know what your early attrition number is?
No, not really, but multiple. Amelia's back there, she might be that. We pretty much have almost like 100% graduation rate. So, some girls
transfer out.
Oh, how many, I've been here 8 years, and I think we've had 1 transfer. So, some of the girls that fall off, to be honest, they fall off because they get into pharmacy school, or they get into the, pre-med, and they decide it's just too tough for them. Like we have a girl right now that we really, really like that's about to get into the pharmacy school, and we're really nervous because I think once she gets into pharmacy school, she's gonna have a tough decision. And I think she's gonna become a pharmacist, and we're gonna lose a soccer player, but at the end of the day, that's why she came here.
What would be the approximate balance of red shirts because you think developmentally they need a red shirt, or because of injury?
Right, that's a really good question. Here it's different. Every school is different. We do not redshirt at all unless it's by injury. We do not do any redshirt based on development. A lot of that is just because all of our girls are on progress too and are going to graduate on time, and they all want to graduate on time. We've had some conversations with girls where we wanted them to redshirt, like Lexie. Lexie could have a redshirt here. She's Conference Player of the Year. That's a player a coach wants to redshirt and have another year with, right? But she's graduating on time and she's ready to move on with her life, so that's great. But Lexie could come back for another year. We had another girl, that graduated, is going to dental school now. That was our starting center mid and co-captain with Lexie last year that could have redshirted. So, I mean, so that's a kind of interesting situation too. I think sometimes for college coaches, there's like, obviously we love soccer, we love our team, and we want to get better, but the girls that, once they know they're going to graduate, they're ready to graduate and move on for the most part. At least that's the way it is in our culture and our program right now. This is going to be my 8th year here, and I mean, we've had one girl transfer out, and we've had, very few redshirt. I'm trying to think real quick of who has redshirted that wasn't an injury. But then what's happened to us is even the injury ones, like just go ahead and graduate, go ahead and graduate anyway. So it doesn't really help us. So it's kind of tough. But I understand. I mean, as a parent too, I understand if you're going to graduate in 4 years, why not do it? So.
A lot of times the girls want to stick with their class too. They've been with them for so long through everything, and they'll be with them through that too.
Yeah.
It's a special bond.
Those are really good questions. But we try to carry, like here, at least we try to carry between 24 and 28. We never really want more than 28, and we haven't in the past had less than 24. So like I said, last year's team was 24, this year's 26, and we have 23 field players and 3 goalkeepers.
How many do you travel with?
We travel with 21, which is kind of a weird number, but we travel with 21, and that's because we use 7 rooms. 3 girls. 7 rooms for the team in our budget, so three girls in a room. So
I think that's a big question parents ask too, so they prepare their daughter their freshman year or sophomore year, whatever year, they might not be able to travel. And then also it kind of helps when you're looking for your roommate in college. I was fortunate I was with a midfielder. Her and I were never ever going to compete with each other for playing time. I was not close to being a good midfielder at all, goalkeeper. So, I mean, looking at little things like that, that's who you're going to be spending your days with, if you're your roommate. So if you are 2 midfielders competing with each other, that travel or not, that can cause some issues in your personal life outside of the field.
it can get very, very competitive because the girls are competing like crazy to be in the starting 11. Everybody wants to be a starter. We all know that. Then the first one's in off the bench. How many minutes can I play? How can I contribute off the bench? And then you see just the fierce competition of, I want to be in that traveling spot. The team's going to California this weekend. The team's going to Seattle or Phoenix or Texas or wherever we're going this weekend. I want to be on that trip. And then just the fierce competitiveness in training of, maybe I don't even play that much on the road trip or play at all, but I sure as heck want to be one of those, 21 that gets to be on the road trip. So it's interesting sometimes as the coach seeing all the different, variations of the competitiveness within the team too.
Chris, you want to talk about training after because it's 10?
Yeah. So I mean, we're having a training session right now. It's going to only go from we typically go 9 to 11, and then we have lunch at 11:30. So we're going to train right now until probably 11:15, and would love for everybody to come down and watch us train if you'd like to. What we're going to do is we have 24 healthy players right now, and that includes the goalkeepers. So we're going to split them up into 3 groups of 8, and one group of 8 is going to be doing like a little passing pattern, while the other 2 groups of 8 are going to be doing a possession drill that we love to do, and then they're going to kind of rotate through 3 stations technically. So like each group of 8 would spend 2 sessions of possession and 1 session of a passing pattern, and then after that we were probably going to bring them all together and play this like quick transition to goal game or cagey game, like some of the games the girls really enjoy. And then it's kind of funny when we were telling them about this event yesterday, they were all saying, well, can we do this? Because we look really good when we do this. If coaches are going to be watching this, obviously we're on the 2nd day of preseason. This is our 3rd training session. We trained yesterday from 9 to 11, and we trained again yesterday from 7 to 9 p.m. So this is only our 3rd session, so it's we got a lot of work to do, a little rusty, but I think that I think we're going to have a really good team this year. So I would definitely encourage you to come out. I think we put together about the hardest schedule that we can put together. I don't know if you've seen it, but I mean, even here in our stadium, we're hosting St. Louis University, Creighton, Drake, Missouri State, Iowa State, Oklahoma State. I mean, those are all our non-conference home games, so it's practically who's who in the Midwest and college soccer. And then we have a 2-hour trip to Manhattan to play Kansas State on a Friday night in September, and I think, you know, that would be a game I would encourage everybody to go watch too, because I think that'll be a battle. So we're really trying hard to build a really good program here, and we're really trying our best to recruit locally. I mean, we recruit everywhere, but even with the rosters, I think someone said that something like 17 or 18 of our 26 players are from the Kansas City metro area, or something 16. It's a pretty heavy percentage right now of our players that come from the Kansas City metro area, and we're proud of that. And really, I mean, thanks to everybody in the room for helping us with that, because obviously you guys are the ones developing them, and we just get them in college and they make us look good.